Good morning from the old man that plays video games. Doing a little creative experimenting and getting ready to breed some villagers. And I figured it would be a good time to explore the size of a village. I've got my two guys here that we're going to start plans for it. So I started to arrange where I'm going to place everything. And I am in creative mode. So, oops, here we go. We're going to plan everything out. So, as you guys know, I've got my my little base here. Get up. My little base here. I've done, obviously, there's a bunch of colorful things around now. But I took out all the water and I took out my fishes because they were just getting in the way. This isn't a copy of my world in creative mode. So it's not, basically I took where I left off on my last episode, copied that, and then started working on this. And it's a whole bunch of colorful concrete blocks to lay everything out. So based on my upper level here with my little fishing pond, that's where I wanted to keep. This next level down, which is my current, living area, storage area, farming area and all that, it's going to go away. This whole floor is going to go away. And the reason is this is where I want my Iron Golem spawning platform to be. My villager trading hall is going to be a little further down as well, which I've not marked on any of the measurements here, because it can be anywhere within some of the blocks. So this glass right here is the bottom of my fishing pond. So I want to keep that. So the below that is where I want the Iron Golems to spawn. So I need a 3 high block area going off in the directions that it needs to go off in. So this is my first measurement, yellow and blue. And that goes down to this green, which green indicates ground. I mean, it'll be a floor made of something. But that right there, the green that's where I want my Iron Golem spawn to be. And below that, directly below that, are some beds. And they are arranged in such a way where the pillow is as close to the middle as possible. And you notice I'm at position 0, 54, 0. So this is my 0 point. Below me is my nether portal. Above me is the 0 point, basically where when I do the request trader command in this Skybedrock world, that's where he comes in. So this is a Skyblock world. We will zoom out here in a minute. In fact, let's go ahead and do that. So for people that are not familiar with Skybedrock, this is the world. This is spawn 0, 0 is right in the middle of the fishing pond. All of the measurements are based off of that point right there. And there's islands out in the distance. That is my 4-corner biome, or biome corner mob grinder, desert, jagged peaks, and 2 different ocean biomes. So just don't pay attention to that. That is in a previous video if you want to watch any of those. But we are talking about village mechanics in Bedrock. And I think that this video is going to be very, very useful for anyone that wants to understand and visualize the mechanics of a village, for the purposes, mostly the purposes of having an Iron Golem spawning platform for Iron Ingot farm. So we're going to go back over here to 0, 0, and everything is based off of it. All of my measuring tools are based off of 0, 0. So as you can see, the green level is the spawning platform for the Iron Golem. 1 block below that are my first 4 beds. Now, there will be where we will line up more beds around it. Let's pull out white. Let's pull out beds. And basically it's going to be, let's throw this down. I'm just going to throw down one side. So there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5 more on the other side is going to be 14. And then on these sides, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, so 14, 15, 16, 17. And on the other side, directly opposite me, 18, 19, 20. So this is how you get to the point where you have 4 in the middle that you start with, and you link up, and you have villagers that are hooked up to those beds. Then you throw in the other 16 beds around it, all concentrating them as close to the middle as possible. And you don't want the villagers to ever get in there, because your villagers are going to be in a trading hall. They're never going to go to bed. They just need a link to it. Once you get to the 20, and if you want to expand it to more than 20, obviously you can just, come down here and work it out where you're putting a second level of beds, and you can get up to 40. And from what I understand, that is the limit, or at least that's where the level of diminishing returns really kind of mess with it. It isn't worth it to get more than 40, and you don't get much from between 30 and 40 beds anyways. But the big step is getting to the 20, because that's what activates your Iron Golem. So everything is based off of one of these 4 beds. And the thing is, we don't know which bed. So we need to adjust our different areas based on these 4 pillows. And I have marked that out with these white glass blocks. So each of these white glass blocks is directly above a pillow, and we will go with the different measuring tools. So yellow, blue, and yellow, that was my 3 tall area that I wanted to have my Iron Golem spawn in. They have to be in 3 high block area, so anywhere around there they'll spawn. They'll come to the middle with a water flow, and obviously lava or campfires will kill them. And you can put a hopper right here in the middle, get all the stuff. You will have to run the hopper down between the beds. Once you get below the bed, you can run it off in whatever direction you want as a hopper chain and process it from there. I like to just get it out of the middle and take it over to the side and start doing what I need to do with it over there. The magenta and light blue measurement. So based off of the bed, and we go to, and I'm going to switch this over, so we're going to lose our game audio for a moment. Display capture. We're going to turn you on, and we are going to turn game capture off, and we're going to transition. So game music just went away. Iron Golem. It didn't. No, turn off. Transition. There we go. So music now has gone off. So now we are get rid of my bookmarks bar. In Bedrock Edition, at least 10 beds or 20 beds and 10 villagers. The golem attempts to spawn in a 17 by 13 by 17 volume. 8 blocks, plus or minus 8 blocks horizontal, and plus or minus 6 blocks vertical from the village's center block. Now, the village's center block is one of these 4 pillows. So we need to go up 6 because it's plus or minus 6. So 6 up, 6 down. So green is 1 because that's 1 above the pillow. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the Iron Golem spawn area can be this block that is right here in front of me. Let's put a torch right here. So Iron Golems can spawn as high as that. Any of these blocks are spawnable by an Iron Golem. And then going down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is spawnable. And that is spawnable. Because those are 6 below the bed. So back up. And then it is 8 in horizontal directions. So that way we get our, where did it go? And Golem. 17 by 13 by 17. So 6 blocks up, 6 blocks down, plus the bed. That's 13. So 6 plus 6 is 12, plus the bed is 13. And now we're going 17 volume, which is 8 blocks left, 8 blocks right, 8 blocks forward, 8 blocks backwards. And that's what this next measurement is with the light blue and magenta. So from the bed, the white, we want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So anywhere from the bed, from this bed right here, up to this point. Now, maybe saying to yourself, well, what if the center is on this side? Well, you've just made it 2 blocks too big just in case. Because if the bed is on this side, your spawning platform, the platform that you're at least accounting for, is 8 blocks away. So you don't want anywhere within 8 blocks of this point to be spawnable. That's why I have buttons on all of these blocks, and everything else is a lower slab or is above this level, because this might be spawnable, but this is not, because that is 7 blocks above the bed. Same goes for down below. So this platform, the area that you're marking off, is bigger than 17 by 17 because you're accounting for, well, what if the bed is on the other side? So it's actually a 19 by 19 based on the fact that these beds are 2 apart from each other. You know, 1, 2, 1, 2. They're all 2 apart, 2 across from each other. So basically you have to add 2 to all of your maximum distances to account for. Now, your platform, you make it as big as you want. It does not need to be bigger than this magenta circle, magenta square. And it needs to be at the green level. So I did not mark out where the spawning platform needs to be based on my initial measurements. The light blue and magenta is simply to mark out where an Iron Golem can spawn. So you want to make anything inside the magenta. It's actually I didn't put up the other part. So let me do that real quick. All right, I'm back. I did have to fix one other thing as well. So get out of there. And I did put one over there. The magenta cube. It's not necessarily a perfect cube, but it's a cube nonetheless. And I do need to, it is directly above. I'm not going to mess with the crops on here. But just imagine that's where the edge of that cube is going to be. So why did that mess up? Anyways, the magenta and blue goes down here into this area as well, in the bottom. And it's lined out. Anything inside of the magenta glass is a place where an Iron Golem can spawn if your beds are set up like this. So you want to make it unspawnable, which I have. That way, when you set up the actual platform here at the green level, going off in all of its directions, you will get Iron Golems to spawn at the rate that Bedrock spawns them, which is not the greatest from what I can see, what I can tell, watching people set up Iron Golem spawners on many Java builds. So that is the area in the blue and the magenta that we are concerned with for Iron Golem spawning. Make anything in there unspawnable except for the platform that you want the Iron Golems to spawn on. Everything else needs to be spawn proof. Lower slab, put a button on it, put a carpet on it, put something on it, make it out of glass, whatever. Just make sure that nothing else can spawn on it. The next level, counting that we're going to do is this green and orange. Green and orange is going to define the edges of the boundary, the village. And let's bring that up real quick. Village. Bedrock Village. Upon creation, a village center is defined as a point of interest claimed by the first villager. So the bed, the village size, and the village's size is the greater of 32 blocks distance from the furthest bed to the center. So, well, it's defined by the point of ice. So their job block, and their job block just needs to be in the area. The village center is the bed. It's defined by a 65 by 25 by 65 block area initially centered on the pillow of that bed. When the villager first links to a bed, village of size 65 by 25 by 65 blocks is created centered on that bed. There is some further mechanics involved, and we're going to bring those over here now. That gives you a little bit more information on this for the village center and origin point, initial size of the village, all useful information linked. This is the village mechanics page right here. So what we want to do is we want to define, and this is actually a really good picture, 32 blocks from the pillow, horizontally 32 blocks from the pillow, from the pillow of the bed, the first bed. So let's close that. And you can put anything inside of that 32 blocks, any point of interest, any job block, any bell, any bed, within this 32 block range. And it's 32 blocks horizontally, and it is, where's it at? It's, well, the size is 24, so that's 12 up and 12 down. Here we go. Extending outwards 32 blocks in all horizontal directions and 12 blocks vertical from that point. So this sentence right here is very, very important when you're designing your village, because if you mess up paying attention to this bit of information, your Iron Golem spawning platform will fail, and you have to start over from scratch. And linking beds, linking point of interest, job blocks to villagers is so annoying. So if you pay attention to these minor details to begin with, you're not going to have an issue. And that's what we're doing here with the, hold on, I'm going to transition back to game capture. Transition. There we go. Here. The music is back. All right. So we want to count up 12 blocks and down 12 blocks, giving us that 25 vertical. 12 above the pillow, 12 below the pillow. So based on, one is the green for the floor level. I had to indicate that for the Iron Golem spawning platform. We're going to count up 12 up to here. So this is 12 blocks up. And is it 12 blocks up? I started with green. Okay, so the bottom would have been yellow or orange. So 12 blocks up, and I've put white glass blocks, and these represent where the pillow is 12 blocks down. So we've marked up our vertical up, and from the pillow, from the bed level, we marked it down 12 more blocks. This actually does go beneath my bottom platform, and this is very empty down here, and it's just my nether portal that I have down here. So anything within, and those white blocks there represent where the pillow of the bed would be 12 blocks down. So everything is based off of where's the pillow? Where's the pillow? We want to know where those 4 different pillows are, because this is where we're going to define the boundaries of our villages based on not the nearest pillow, but the furthest pillow. And here's what I mean by that. The furthest pillow away And let's go up here where we can see. So this would be the pillow of the nearest bed going off in this direction, going off towards my taiga biome. And we want to go out. The definition of the village says 32 horizontal, 12 vertical, and 32 horizontal in every direction. So a total of 64 across and 25 height. So we want to go out 32. But the thing is, we want to go out 32, not from the nearest block. We want to go out 32 from the furthest block. So in case this is the center of the village, 12 down, I want to represent the edge of my village going in that direction from this point. And I want to represent the edge of my village going in that direction from this point. And I want to represent the edge of my village going in that direction from this point. Because if it is on the far side, I am on the far side of my center of the way I'm thinking, because I'm measuring out going off, and that is actually south. I can bring out a thing to show that. So going off south, I want to measure from the north point. Going off east, I want to measure from the west point. Going off north, I want to measure from the south point. And going off east, I want to measure from the west point. No, going off west, I want to measure from the east point. And the reason that I want to do that is anything within the orange and green, and we'll come out here and we'll get a better look. This green glass box, anything inside of that is initially by default, when you first set everything up, if it links to that first bed, everything in here is for sure going to be inside of the village. Now, depending on which of those 4 beds is chosen, one of these 4 sides, north, south, east, west, is going to be 2 blocks longer. But we don't know which bed. I've never been able to find a tool that shows me where's the center point of this village. You pretty much have to plan where your center point is going to be. And that's what this whole video is about, is planning where that bed is going to be and basing all the measurements off of where the bed is going to be, because everything links up to that bed. And by assuming that everything inside of this green box is fine, then anything that you build inside of this green box is not going to change where the center of the village is. And we're going to switch over again to display capture. And we're going to go into the section about village mechanics, expansion of villages. So beyond the initial borders, with an additional range of 32 blocks horizontally and 52 blocks vertically, lies the potential for expansion. If new POIs are added within this extended range, the village expands accordingly, growing the minimum amount needed to include the new POI. This expansion occurs when a villager claims a new POI, as indicated by green particles. And as shown in this picture here, the first bed is here. When these 2 beds are added just outside the original borders, the borders will grow. And when the borders grow, the center of the village changes. It's no longer... Can we zoom in? That's as zoomed in as we got. It no longer is on that bed. So we no longer have control of where the center of the village is. Here's another picture of it. Newly claimed beds, village boundary, and expansion area grow. So the village gets bigger. I mean, there is a point that I think that it won't grow any further, but what's the point in exploring that? Because you could, if you could tile villagers to points of interest and beds every 31 blocks away, you could make a village infinite. I mean, it has to be a point where you can't do that anymore, but since it's not a mechanic that I've ever explored, I've not even thought about it until just now. And that is so weird thought that you can just have an infinitely expanding village if you put a bed or a point of interest block 31 blocks away every single time. You could make a village cover the entire world just by placing the right block and a villager. They have to claim it. You trap them. Hey, here's your bed, and here's your job block. 31 blocks away from your nearest buddy. You could make a village like that. I guess it would work. How long would they last? You start to get into the distinct villages, how far away they need to be, and because of the 32 block boundary from the village and the extended area that a village could expand into, if you're going to have multiple villages close by, they really need to be 97 blocks away from each other, or there is a decent enough chance they will at least overlap, if not combine. And any of that ruins an Iron Golem spawning mechanic, because your Iron Golem spawning mechanic is completely based on, I need to put a hotkey on this transition. Resume game. The Iron Golem spawning mechanic is completely based on go in here where that pillow is. So anything with it, and you could put any job block you want inside of here. You could put a bed right up to this point. And it's not going to mess with anything because that is inside. It's not going to change where the center of the village is. But the moment that you put a bed here, it is outside of the green. And so if a villager claims this, you're screwed. You're ruined. You cannot, your Iron Golem farm moves. And if it still is, if the magenta box moves, because it's based off the center, if it still is in your Iron Golem spawning platform area, you may get some, but the further out you move it, the further away from that platform is, and those Iron Golems are going to spawn somewhere else. If you make, like I'm in a Skyblock world, there's very few places for anything to spawn because I control where everything goes. So the orange and yellow, or the orange and lime green, define where our village is as of right now. Well, once it starts, but where it's going to be. I don't want it to get any bigger because any bigger is going to change where the magenta box is going to be. I don't want to change where the magenta box is going to be. I just want the magenta box to be unspawnable and static. I don't want anything to spawn there. I want to put a Iron Golem spawning platform there. And yeah, I mean, honestly, you could have 2 Iron Golem spawning platforms. You could put another one down here at this level because that's spawnable. And you have one up there. So you get 2 platforms. Doubles the area they can spawn, so it might increase rates a little bit. But you also need to consider where your villages are going to be, them linking up to beds. How far away does that need to be? Because you could have the villagers out in this area out here and probably closer to the bed level. And you would probably be fine, but they would be linking to beds that are 8, 9, 10, 12 away. And I have not refreshed myself on villager linking to bed mechanics. I know they link to a bed. They don't have to go to the bed. They just link to it. Now, the next thing that we're going to measure is this black and red section. So, as it showed in the expandable area, anything within, and let's bring that up also. Bring that up again. We're doing this a lot. Display capture, game capture, transition. Where's, because I'm minimizing it, it's going away. Initial size of villages. So with an additional range of 32 blocks horizontal and 52 blocks vertical. So with our horizontal already at 32, we're adding another 32. So we need to go north, south, east, and west by 64. With our initial village being 12, and it's adding another 52 as potential. 52 plus 12 is 64. So we need to block off an area around those beds of 64 by 64 by 60. No, it's a cube, 64 by 64. Yeah, perfect cube. Because that's all the same measurement. So let's game capture, display capture, transition, resume game. We're getting it. I'm still kind of a newbie at all this. We want to go up from that bed, that pillow, by the first 12 and then another 52. So in this case, we're going up to 64. And up here, again, we represent... it's raining. I don't want to rain. What is it? Weather. Clear. There we go. All right. The white glass represents where the pillow is. Now, for this, when it came to the village, we wanted to go to measuring from the opposite side because we wanted to take the minimum size of the village, and if it was a little bit bigger, then great. We don't care. We just don't want to be wrong on how small it is. When it comes to the potential size, we want to go from the near side because this is the area inside the red that we don't want any bed, any bell, any point of interest block. Because if a villager links to anything within this red cube, it messes up the mechanics. Anything outside of the red cube is fair game. Do whatever you want. You are perfectly fine putting a bed outside of this red cube section. So basically I could, put a bed right here, and it's not going to mess with the mechanics of that village down there. It's not going to mess with the Iron Golem spawning center of the pillow, blah, 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 because this is outside of the range of where a village can expand to. And this goes off in 64 in every direction. And the same thing way down here at the bottom. It goes off in 64 in every direction. So anything inside of the red, we don't want a bed or a job block or a bell or anything that could possibly mess up a village, where a village is going to be and do and function. Because everything in the magenta in the middle is where the Iron Golem is going to spawn. Anything inside of the lime green is where is okay for a village to be. You put job blocks, like I'm going to expand out my islands and I'm going to have my farms with their villagers that are working the farms. Their composters are going to be inside of the green box. so that I don't have to worry about the village changing. But anything between the green and the red is off limits. I mean, you can put stuff, you can put redstone machines, you could put, anything that does not involve a job block that a villager can link to, or a bed that a villager can link to, or a bell that a villager can link to, or I don't even know what else there may be that a villager can link to. If a villager can link to it, it needs to stay out of this area because that is going to mess everything up. So I'm really hoping that this video helps more than just any of my Skybedrock friends. Anybody that is on Bedrock is welcome to use this information to hopefully make a decent village trading hall with an Iron Golem spawner built inside, because these are the specific mechanics that took me forever to figure out, to make sure they were right. And by basing it off of this design with the initial 4 beds and then have them link, at least one of them needs to be linked before you start putting on more beds. Because if you put out the outside beds on there and the first bed that's linked is one of the outside ones, all of these measurements are off. They're off by 2 to 6. 3, 4. It's maybe 2 to 6 from this initial starting point. But why take that risk? Why do anything other than, this compact layout where you've got the 4 beds and you control exactly where they're at, and you can, dictate the size of your village if you know where you're putting your beds the first time. Have your villagers linked to those beds, and boom, you're gold. Your Iron Golem's spawning platform is going to work. You set it up anywhere. It doesn't have to be at this green level. This green level is simply because I have a roof on it. It can be at the level with the pink, or with the magenta and the blue. That's the level it could be at, as high as, or as low as. The villagers, they just need to be inside the green and orange, and they can have their go. Hey, buddy, have their go and live their lives. You keep them trapped in their job blocks so they don't really get out and start messing around with things. And then outside of the green, don't touch it. I mean, don't do any village stuff at all. Because if you do village stuff out here, it's going to burn you. So yeah, this is just one of my in-between videos. I'm going to be using this as my basis for how I'm going to be building my village. I have an identical setup in a different world, my creative world, that I use on Skybedrock. And it's perfectly fine. I get the lower rates that Bedrock Iron Golem spawners get. I have only got 20 beds. I could probably add more. Probably add 30 beds, 40 beds. And it might get me better rates, better turnaround. But I've got such a good supply of iron in that other world and it's a creative world, so it kind of doesn't even matter. More of an exploration of the game. But this is what I figured out, and I really hope that all of this helps anyone that plays Bedrock and is a bit confused on how the mechanics work, because by God, that's the mechanics right there. You set up those beds, you control where they're at, and you can control where everything goes. You just have to be methodical and obsessed, and all the other terms that describe us gaming nerd culture, that you keep to these rules. You stay on that wiki, you stay looking at the measurements, and you're gonna be fine. Come stand out here. This has been the old man that plays video games, and I hope that this has helped anyone that wants to put together a villager Iron Golem spawning platform village setup. in your Bedrock world. And I'm really hoping that doing this setup with the bright colors and doing it in Skyblock, which has hardly any terrain, just my own personal base, really helps people try to do this correctly. So I hope this is helpful. I will hope to stream later today, and maybe you can check me out on my survival world, which is basically just the same thing, but without all the colored blocks, and our initial steps into building the village based on all of these measurements. Goodbye for now, and hope to see you again sometime soon. Bye.